You played that beautifully, Holly.
My body heat, sensing an opportunity at the slightest of compliments, manages a full-scale invasion of my face. I really didn't do anything.
Perhaps not as far as you can see, but to me, you may have just saved my club. Midori might play the aloof and distant student council president, but she's one of the good ones. She really does work so very hard, and to completely unselfish ends, too. You should go pay her a visit at the student council chamber sometime. She's there every lunchtime, and I know she gets lonely sitting there by herself.
You think she'd want me just dropping in on her like that?
I think she'd be delighted to have you. I think she'd consider herself a poor student council representative if she forgot a new transfer so easily. So don't think I was trying to dupe her, or make things simpler for her, you know? Because like I said, you will be joining the Literature Club. That much was never in question. The particulars are all incidental.
I nod my head slowly, though I wonder how can she be so sure? How she can be so sure. Is it simply this confidence she radiates with her very presence, or something more? We know she's met a aware dude. Monica must have noticed the expression of skepticism on my face, because she continues.
Human beings are actually quite easy to predict, you know. Being surrounded by as many people as I am, it's hard not to begin picking up patterns. It's not just classmates either. Grown-ups too tends to fall into easily cataloged archetypes. Though it's more difficult in the case of grown-ups since they've had longer to practice their masking behaviors. But the patterns still very much exist.
Grown-ups? Just how often does Monica spend time around grown-ups anyway? And masking behaviors? I didn't know I signed up for a psychology course.
Take Midori, for instance. She's an earnest, hard-working girl who knows how tough it can be for a student with their interests that diverge from the mainstream. Interests such as literature. She knows how passionate I am about the club, and how I want it to be a safe place for those few who would give it the time of day. So it's no wonder, then, that she took my excuses so easily. Unlike the faculty she reports to, Midori's on our side, and wants to see the little people succeed.
You're saying that the faculty is not on your side?
Let's just say, Midori is a lot more optimistic about how this school is run than I am. But that's just who she is, honest and capable, and someone erroneously expects everyone around her to also be honest and capable. But unlike what fiction Bender tends to tell you, most people really don't have a lot going on inside them. Most people really are very shallow and superficial.
But that's kind of bleak, isn't it?
Of course you would say that, little Hallie, and that's how I know you're going to join the Literature Club.
Because I'm shallow and superficial?
Quite the opposite, because I can tell you've got a lot going on in that head of yours, just like each of the girls.
The girls?
Oh, now you're enticed, aren't you?
No, I was just asking if... Well, you're referring to the club members, right? So they're all people you'd consider to be complex on the inside, more than meets the eye?
Oh, very much. They're all quite interesting girls, who I'm sure you'd be delighted to know intimately.
Stop it! Still, she says there's more to me than meets the eye, and yet claims she can flawlessly predict my next move anyway. Either she genuinely thinks she has a full measure of me despite how supposedly complex I am, or something isn't adding up. Before I can address her logical inconsistencies, however, my thought process is... Hold on, let it finish spelling it out before I look. My thought process is broken by the bell. Monica flashes me a dreamy smile before we silently sling each of our bags over our shoulders and head to the classroom door. Monica and I say our goodbyes shortly, with her splitting off toward the third-year classrooms. Even if I don't always agree with her worldviews, the fact that she has any at all is simply captivating. So often people just don't form opinions about anything at all, which is... maybe she's right, after all. No, that's an abhorrent outlook to have. Time for chemistry class. You know, my personal feelings on that matter is that people tend to seem shallow on the outside, and then when you get to know them, their depth starts to appear. Which is actually pretty common for visual novels, too. Particularly DDLC.
We're excited for tomorrow.
What's tomorrow?
Another day you'll be stopping by the music club to see yours truly, of course. I've got another original piece for you to lend to your musical expertise. It's called Claire de Lune.
That's not an original piece.
Huh, you got me. Maybe I could have had you fooled if I picked something more obscure. Rachmaninoff? Did I say that right? Limestone, or Limestone, perhaps?
I probably botched both of those horribly. That's not obscure either.
You sure know a lot about classical music, Ellie. Are you holding out on me? Would you be a secret violin savant, perchance?
I wish I'm just some kid who happens to like the classics.
Well, who knows? Everything could change tomorrow with a few taps on a keyboard.
A keyboard? I thought I was a violin savant, not a pianist.
Right, sorry. Still have the keys on my brain, I guess. Just you wait, little Hallie. Come Friday, I'll see for real how you choose to express yourself.
There she goes again, speaking of where I'll be and what I'll do with such confidence. I mean, she's not wrong, but still. Hi, Natsuki. Thanks for hanging out with me. Since the farm. Going. All the media I have ever consumed has told me that people are complicated. People all have rich inner lives, struggles I could never understand, and myriad thoughts the world will never see. Well, I don't know about not understanding them, but everyone does have their little bit of everything to deal with. But what if that's wrong? What if such a sentiment is wrong at best, and at worst, delusional and self-indulgent? Art writing is created by artists and writers, people who can dream up entire worlds in their minds and whose pen hands breathe life into people newly birthed onto a white page. Could the assumption that everyone can think like this, that everyone is capable of this, be born from a simple lack of empathy, and inability to discern that different brains think in different ways? Well, I mean, yeah, people think in different ways, but, like, just because some people aren't creative doesn't mean they've got nothing going on. And that many brains simply do not think at all? No, I don't really think that's true. I think a lot of people, like, turn off their brains a lot of the time, but it doesn't mean they can't think. Monica posited this possibility yesterday at lunch. My knee-jerk urge was, of course, to refute it. That's what any good, morally upright and kind person would do. But I can't ignore it. Just like how I can't ignore the staring, the whispering, and the strange off-putting comments of my classmates. I can't ignore the rain, even if everyone else does. I can't pretend everything is okay. I can't pretend that the city's infrastructure is going to hold out forever, and that crops and livestock aren't going to succumb to sickness. And yet, everyone else can. I pass them in the halls, and they talk and laugh and fight and worry over all the same things they did in middle school. Everywhere I look, it's a deluge of smiles in which we'd happily drown. Don't get all existential on me, dude. After all, you don't technically exist. Let's leave. Let's just go. Skip it. There's Midori, the student council president, lingering at the entrance under the cover of the school's overhanging roof, along with a few others. She seems to be discussing something with the other students that surround her, looking at each other's phones and comparing documents. Must be student council business. Busy as always. Natsuki and I close our umbrellas and gotta move on.
Thank fuck, it's a Thursday! I'll make it our first class! Those cookies we made were awesome! Did you finish yours already?
I ate one a day. What should Natsuki and I bake? Think we're bold enough to tell off the teacher again? Let's find out. After we finished fixing the frosting, the oven chime sounds, calling our attention to the newborn cake. Then again, they're probably not going to tell us off at all. This is just like an extra day. They never say anything about it here. The batter appears to be done baking, as evidenced both by the oven's chime and the rich, sweet aroma emanating from it. She swings the oven door open, and our faces are blasted by both the heat and the cake's fragrance, now stronger than ever. It's green. Don't know what I expected. It's just a thin sheet of green at the bottom of the pan. The pink-haired girl must have picked up on the uncanny lack of ceremony because she speaks up.
Okay, I know it doesn't look all that impressive right now, but it's what happens next that makes this thing.
True enough, I suppose. Natsuki slips a pair of mittens over her hands and evacuates the green-tinted disappointment from the oven's scorching bowels. Splat. There it is. Wow, what an exquisite dessert. Both in its presentation and its aroma, there's notes of the matcha tea blend complement the sweetness of the strawberry frosting perfectly, resulting in a dish that, while certainly bearing the telltale hallmarks of traditional Eastern teas, her tea also carries a distinctly Western sweetness and delicacy. Brings to mind an image of a tea cake, tea and cake, served in an opulent mansion's solar, shared with an old friend as we reminisce on ballroom dances and arranged marriages past. After the instructor praises our work, yeah, away we go. We're not allowed to answer him, or are we? No. Oh, I can't do it. Alright. Now Midori's an option too. Good grief. Well, you know, here's the thing. We had to go this far for her to become an option anyway, so I'm going to drop an extra... I'm going to get rid of this old save. I'll have to, like, make a mental note that I'm leaving that there for Midori, because this seems to be the earliest we can access anything personal with her regardless. There might be other ways, I'm not sure. This mod has so many options. I silently head upstairs to where the clubs and third-year classrooms are located, seeking Monika's sweet serenade once more. Heh. She really is playing Claire de Lune. Debussy's legendary piece echoes down the halls, each note lonely and plaintive. With each passing day, Monika's choice of song seems to grow more somber and melancholy. On my first day of school, she was playing that upbeat and bouncy tune, one Kusei said she had composed for someone in particular. Then on the second day, she was playing that heavy, oppressive, unnamed piece, where every pressed key reverberated with impact. Then she was playing another self-composed piece, which she dubbed Night View of the Distant Port, a much more mellow, wistful song by contrast. And now she performs Claire de Lune, a piece venerated for its atmosphere of tragic resonance. Did I say romance? I tried to say resonance. Yeah, I said romance. I wonder if it all means something. If her ongoing choice of song is being influenced by events and feelings in her own life. Or maybe the real world just isn't that neatly poetic. But before I am able to grasp the door's handle, my phone erupts with vibrations and noise. Whoever it is, it's definitely not Monika. Sup, cunt? Don't answer that. Hell, if there were any justice, you wouldn't be able to answer that because you'd be hanging from a rope right now. It's okay, though. Justice is going to be served real soon. Real soon, even. Can't wait for the day me and my friends finally get fed up with your shit. Monika's playing you for a sucker, you realize that, right? She just loves having your pathetic ass following her around wherever she goes like a whimpering little puppy. Anyway, here's your daily reminder to kill yourself. I gently open the door and close it behind me just as carefully. Interrupting Monika's performance is the absolute last thing I want to do. Still, Monika plays onward unabated. She's never once been disturbed by any of my unannounced entrances. Perhaps it is due to how quiet and unassuming I am, or her own diligent concentration, or some combination thereof. Or perhaps she simply expects my presence at this point. My actions a fatalistic certainty.
What a surprise you to learn that this piece isn't about a girl named Claire at all. Classical composers would often dedicate their particularly romantic or melancholy pieces to whichever girl had captured their affections at the time. Beethoven's For Elise, Chrysler's Sean Rosmarine, even Debussy got in on the action with Girl with the Flaxen Hair. But Claire de Lune is simply French for moonlight. A bit anticlimactic, isn't it?
There's definitely something romantic about Moonlight, though. And this song in particular, what's more.
That's because Moonlight isn't actually all there is to it. Claire de Lune does simply mean moonlight. But it's actually named after a folk song, typically played as an accompaniment to scenes of the lovesick Pierrot in French theatre. The pale, white-robed Pierrot, pining for his lovely Colomina under the gentle moonlight, the sad clown never to have his heart fulfilled. Now you're starting to see the image of this song evokes now. I think out of all the archetypes of the Commedia dell'arte, Pierrot is the one I relate to the most.
Because you give but receive nothing, want something you can never have. Now we're gonna come over right out on it. You have an unrequited crush. Is there someone you like, Monika?
Huh, imagine that. Monica, star of the senior class, already well on her way to college and beyond, pining over some guy who will never like her back.
Her own brazen self-confidence aside, it does sound absurd when she puts it that way.
Don't take it so literally, little mouse. There are any number of things I could be plaintively pining for. Freedom, money, power, fame. Love itself, perhaps, even if not from a particular person. You know who in the Commedia dell'arte you remind me of, Hallie?
I haven't foggiest.
Who else but Arlecchino, the witty, knavish wrench in the way it works to the lovesick protagonists and the obtuse villains both.
I have no idea what she's talking about. I'm not cultured. Not what I was expecting.
And why not? You're an outsider here, an unexpected variable, whose introduction nevertheless made a profound impression. Future member of the Lecture Club, close friend and confidant of class star Monica, the new transfer student, who appeared as if from thin air mid-semester. Just who in the world are you, Hallie? Where did you come from? I fear I may never have answers to these questions, just as Arlecchino keeps his own cards close to his chest. As I said before, the people I see here every day can all fit into easily cataloged archetypes. Even you, Arlecchino, the unaccountable outlier.
I'm not even sure we're still talking about the same thing at this point. So, is that how you frame your easily cataloged archetypes? Through the Commedia dell'arte?
Would you believe me if I told you I just came up with all that as I was playing Claire de Lune?
And here I thought you had this entire system laid out.
If I did, I wouldn't use the Commedia as my mnemonic. Say what you will about the Innamorati and their romantic foibles. Even they're more complex than your average human.
Why do you have such a bleak outlook on people? After my question is rendered, Monica simply gazes at me for a few seconds with an unreadable expression before letting out a heavy exhale and answering.
My upbringing was not. I don't think it's anything you could imagine, little mouse.
Well, gosh, I know we're like right on the end of her route here, but I'm kind of out of time for this. So we're going to find out more about her, whatever, later. That's going to do it for now. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll catch you next time with more Downpour. Hope to see you then. Bye-bye.